Ever since the finale for Smoke Season 1 aired on Friday, I have seen a ton of people in my comments talking about how they thought this series was a limited series and if a Season 2 is even possible. So let's talk about the possibility of a second season and what kind of story it could focus on. Before we get into the 3 highlighted points from Season 1 that you can carry into Season 2, there are a couple of things that we have to know before we can discuss that, including the fact that this show hasn't been renewed for a second season, and it is ultimately up to Apple on whether or not it happens. But if it does happen, and as I mentioned multiple times in my reviews for Season 1, Dennis Lehane, the creator of the show, not only has a full outline for the second season, but always viewed the show as a 3-season arc. Now, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people expected this just to be a limited series, that it was 9 episodes, it was a 1-season show, a complete story from that first episode to that 9th episode. And I can definitely understand that after that finale, you could finish it there if you really wanted to. But there are 3 specific story threads that are still open that we can easily continue in a second season. The first one is the most obvious one. It's the biggest one going into a possible second season. It's the Michelle situation. Everything that she ended up doing with Captain Burke, the unaliving, setting the house on fire, planting that all on Dave. But also, we can't forget, she called her brother for help to help erase all of the footage from the neighbor's house, but he ended up downloading all of that video footage to possibly hold it against her for some reason that we don't know. The second story thread is something that was very briefly touched on, but is extremely important. It's the Harvey situation and all the embezzling that he has been doing for years. The $250,000+ that he has stolen from the station that he works at. And it's not only that, but it's also the situation with Dave and that moment that we had in the finale of, if I go down, you go down. That has to be figured out. The third and final story point that I want to bring up that could end up being the main investigation of Season 2 is the lab arsonist that was introduced right before that chaotic wildfire sequence with Dave and Michelle. We were introduced to a brand new arsonist that is running around creating fires, and in that scene, we learn that this person is doing this all over technology. They are doing it over phones and tablets and computers away from the scene of the crime, meaning that they could be anywhere starting these fires. Those are just 3 things that I connected to in those last couple of episodes that I can definitely see continuing on in a second season, but I think the bigger question, the bigger thing going into a follow-up season is, what do you do with Dave? What are you going to do to make it make sense that this character's story continues on? Because I get the feeling that we are nowhere near done with him. But I want to hear from you guys. Do you want to see Smoke continue on with a second and third season? What do you want to see next from these characters, these investigations, and anything else that this show can do for you? Leave all your thoughts in the comments below and hit that follow button for more TV review, ranking, and recommendation videos just like this one.